All right, as the opioid epidemic stretches across America, no state's been more affected than West Virginia.
Deaths tied to the use of fentanyl and other synthetic opioids rose by 79%.
About 2 million Americans are hooked on prescription painkillers.
26 people overdosed in one West Virginia town.
This country's recent surge in opioid addiction.
It is no secret that the United States is in the grips of an opioid crisis. But what does that mean? How did we get here? And what can be done about it? Americans consume more opioids than any other country in the world. In 2015 alone, 300 million prescriptions were written just in the US, and an untold number ends up in the hands of 12.5 million annual abusers. This means that 1 in 25 Americans are abusing these drugs. Our friends, neighbors, and even family are the victims in this crisis. Many states have suffered a relentless wave of addiction that has been wreaking havoc on entire towns, though it is West Virginia that has suffered the most. From 2015 to 2016 alone, West Virginia experienced a 17% increase in opioid-related deaths. Just last year, 885 people died of drug overdoses, making it the 6th leading cause of death in the state. So what are opioids and why are they so addictive? Opioids work by binding to receptors in the nervous system that causes a massive release of dopamine, the feel-good hormone. This in turn activates a natural reward system that associates that good feeling with a positive and beneficial experience, despite its true destructive nature. This causes the body to want more of the experience, and the addiction cycle begins. After consuming opioids for the first time, a person will quickly discover that more and more of the drug is needed to achieve the same effect in reducing pain. This is called tolerance. When you use opioid medication over an extended period of time, you can develop dependence. This can occur when your body becomes so used to the drug that if you abruptly stop taking it, you will get withdrawal symptoms such as anxiety, irritability, muscle pain, diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting. People who are addicted to opioids compulsively seek out the pain medications. Statistically, 1 in 4 people who receive opioids for long-term pain treatment will become addicted. In addition, recent research has revealed that there may be little to no benefit for non-cancerous chronic pain sufferers from taking opioids. In other words, the pain medication we've been giving people for chronic pain hasn't been helping their pain, it's just been turning them into addicts. So where does it start? Most Americans' first encounter with the opioids is when dentists prescribe pain medication following wisdom tooth extraction. For most, this is between the ages of 17 to 24 while their brains are still developing. Dentists are aware of the dangers related to opioid use at young ages but prescribe them anyways. According to the American Dental Association, 74% of oral surgeons recommend patients use ibuprofen after wisdom teeth extraction, yet 85% of them prescribe an opioid despite this preference. Many providers prescribe 30 days of post-operative narcotic pain medication for post-procedural pain when 2 weeks is sufficient. Prescriptions like these are at the root of opioid abuse. The solution to this addiction cycle will start with our 3-step program to aid in diminishing the number of opioid prescriptions written by medical providers. Our first step is to improve upon prescription guidelines. Some providers' financial compensation is tied to patient pain management survey results, which provide monetary gain to those who overprescribe. This practice needs to be outlawed immediately. In addition, there are no evidence-based guidelines for proven addiction-limiting procedures for providers to follow. These need to be generated and put in the hands of every doctor and dentist in the country. Also, law enforcement and the FDA need to be given additional resources to track down and stop doctors that are overprescribing to their patients. The second step is to develop a video series aimed at educating patients, parents, and children on the imminent danger associated with opioid use. The third step is to create a mandatory nationwide prescription monitoring program, or PMP, administered by the FDA that will raise alerts when indicators of abuse are detected. This program will require that every prescription for opioids in the U.S. is entered into a trackable database and available to pharmacies, doctors, and law enforcement. 30% of addicts doctor shop across state lines to seek out opioids, and a robust monitoring program would end that for good. California, the most populous state in the country, has already seen the positive results of a powerful PMP called Cures 2.0. This database and strict enforcement has left the state largely immune to the growing trend of opioid addiction. Cures 2.0 is a scalable solution that can be used to combat this epidemic on a national scale. The tragedy of opioid abuse goes beyond the user. The true victims are the neighbors, friends, and families of addicts that have had their neighborhoods, homes, and lives torn to pieces by the effects of these drugs. But there is hope if we can find the will to take action before it's too late.